Dear students, let us start the discussion on today's newspaper, that is 14 July 2016. The first article is related to the Arunachal Pradesh crisis and the Supreme Court judgment onto it. The central to understanding of this article is the Article 163 of the Constitution. What it states, Article 163 subclause 1 states that there shall be a council of ministers with the chief minister at the head to aid and advise the governor in the exercise of his functions. And governor can act under this advice except for the functions which are in his discretion. It means that there shall be council of ministers to aid and advise the governor in the state. And governor, other than his discretionary functions, shall act in accordance with this particular advice. And second thing is, if a question arises whether the matter falls within governor's discretion or not, the governor's decision is final. The governor shall not be called in question on the ground that he ought or ought not have acted in his discretion. So this is what is the question which comes up. So it means under Article 163, there is a huge discretionary power given to the governor, and the best discretion is he can decide what is his power is or what is his discretion is. So in this context, let us see the Arunachal Pradesh crisis. In Arunachal Pradesh, there was a Congress government by Nabam Tuki. He was the chief minister, and certain dissidents from the Congress, they complained to the governor that they want to have a no confidence motion in the house. Now, the speaker, Nabam Rabia, he has disqualified all those dissident Congress MLAs. Now, a council of ministers has advised the session of the Legislative Assembly for January to conduct it in January 14th and 15th. Now, governor has preponed that particular session and ordered for its conduct in December itself. And the second thing is, he has decided the agenda of the meeting, that is to take up the removal of the speaker as the first item. So in this case, does governor has a power to interfere with regard to the authority of the speaker? Now governor can decide the session of a house irrespective of the aid and advice of the Council of Ministers. Can he override the opinion of the Council of Ministers? And the third thing is, governor, can he decide the agenda of the meeting? So these are the three questions which are raised before the Supreme Court. And Supreme Court has clearly said that the governor cannot run a parallel government in the state to the elected government. And second is, governor is not an all-pervading constitutional authority and is only the executive nominee who has to function on the advice of the cabinet. The discretionary powers stated for the governor under Article 163(1) are narrow and limited. And finally, a governor cannot use his discretionary powers to challenge the executive or chief minister and his council of ministers of the day. So it means, now based on this judgment, the Supreme Court has, brought in back the Nabam Tuki's government. It is historically important because for the first time, another government is in power, that is Mr. Pul's government is in power. Overthrowing the existing government, Supreme Court is reinstating the previous government by reversing the governor's decision, by reversing the president's rule. So it means ex parte ante, the situation was reversed to back. That's what is the judgment did. And the second thing over here is this. Today, the Guwahati High Court, it has revoked the disqualification made by the speaker. So it means if this government of Nabam Tuki, if it is put for test, obviously it is going to lose the confidence. So this is where the things stand today. So the governor's authority was examined by the Supreme Court, and then the disqualified members or else anti-defection law application by the speaker, it is under the question before the Guwahati High Court now. Now coming to Indo-US relations. So what is this context? H1B and L1 visas, they are the high-skilled migrant visas to the US, non-immigrant visas to the US, sorry. High-skilled non-immigrant visas. Now, in US always there is an argument that these visas are leading to the unemployment in that particular country. And that's why, to the popular pressure, United States has raised the visa fee and instilled 50-50 per rule. What is this 50-50 rule? If any company has more than 50 US-based employees and more than 50% of this US-based workforce is on H1B or L1 visas, then it will attract these high visa fees. Government of India said it is discriminatory and it is ready to move to the WTO on this issue. And Prime Minister Modi also brought it before the President Obama. So in this context, let us see the rationality of this decision. Now, tech workers or high-skilled workers, they are going to create the new jobs. There is a study conducted by Agnes Scott College in Georgia, United States. What it says is, for every 100 H1B workers who are coming to US, 183 jobs are created in US. And second, they are creating a huge revenue to the US exchequer. So over 2011 and 13, they have paid the taxes to the tune of $22.5 billion. And the third thing, US companies claim is this. The Indian companies, they are bringing their cheap labor to United States. But if you carefully observe, US workers on H1B or L1 visas, they are paid on equivalent or higher than their American counterparts. And finally, above all this, these immigrant workers they are making, non-immigrant workers they are making, US industry highly competitive globally. So in these circumstances, US has to review its policy on H1B and L1 visas. Now, making a sense of Brexit. Now, this article by Rangarajan, what it says is this. Many people have seen Brexit as a vote against the ongoing globalization. So what Rangarajan says is, we have to see it from two dimensions. So the citizen sense of loss of control. Sorry, I lost the connection. I'll be back. Now, so what this article is talking about is Brexit is due to globalization or due to some other force. He analyzes two reasons to it. The first reason is, now there is a loss of control to the citizens. The sense is like this. Many of the people living in UK, they feel that they are losing the control over their government, and the control is more and more shifting to the Brussels and to the hands of certain handful of bureaucrats. So let us see this way. Now, previously monetary policy, currency exchange, these were in the control of the independent nations. The objective of the European Union was to create a common market, not to create a single market. But over a period of time, common currency, common trade rules, common rules and regulations with regard to immigration and also human rights, everything has led to the control into the hands of the European Union staying at Brussels. And the second fear which was instilled is the immigration. Especially immigration in low-skilled jobs or semi-skilled jobs from Romania and other East European countries are taking away the jobs of UK. So the working class has felt insecure out of it. Especially when the economic downturn is there, this insecurity can be disastrous. So what the author argues is this. It is a vote against greater economic integration which went beyond the free flow of goods, services and capital. That is what is the thing that has happened. Now coming to Kashmir issue. So what this author argues is, we are living in a constant denial in Kashmir. In the Manmohan Singh government way back in 2007, it has come close to a solution to Kashmir, but however it has dropped its chances. Now the BJP government and PDP alliance, BJP-PDP alliance in the state, they're also missing these chances. The unnecessary arguments around Article 370, the beef ban and all these issues, they are alienating the Kashmiris further. So in this case, the political vacuum which was created after the death of Mufti Muhammad Sayeed and failure of the alliance to deliver on its promises, that is to engage with all the stakeholders to find a solution to the Kashmir issue. Next is extrajudicial killings, especially the Armed Forces Special Powers Act, a draconian law being in operation. And finally, improper implementation of constitutional guarantees under Article 370. These are increasing the alienation of the Kashmiri people from India. So, more and more reapproachment, Vajpayee is insaniyat. This can bring in a change in the Kashmiri youth. And coming to the South China Sea issue. Yesterday, the Permanent Court of Arbitration at Hague, it has given its judgment against to China, and China has no legal basis to claim rights over the South China Sea, especially 9-dot line. So, it also said that the China is getting into the exclusive economic zone of the Philippines. So in this context, China said the judgment is not valid because it is touching the sovereign issues which are not under the purview of United Laws on Convention of Seas. Now here, if we analyze the situation, now China on one way, it is not respecting the decision of the UN clause, Permanent Court of Arbitration under South China Sea. And same China is recommending for UN clause at Senkaku Islands in East China Sea in its conflicts with Japan. And second, with regard to UN clause, the United States did not ratify it at. It has showed clearly the necessity of the US to respect the global order for the other countries to follow the same. Now coming to the Iraqi envoy, he says that there might be sleeper cells of his ISIS in India. And then Juno, which has reached the Jupiter orbit recently, it has entered crossing the solar radiation, and it can helpful for the space. It is sending already the photos, and it is helpful for the space probe. And the next is new central scheme is launched. Already the scheme is existing, and it has been extended up to 2020. The objective of Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana, it is to train 1 crore of youth by 2020 for the jobs, and 12,000 crores of the rupees are earmarked for this. These are the articles for today. Thank you very much.